Hello, I'm Gary, and it's late February, so it's the perfect time to explain and demonstrate how to prune a peach tree. I'll be pruning to create an open center. Instead of an upright central leader like we have on apple and pear trees, for peaches, nectarines, apricots, and Japanese plums, we have no central leader. We have an open center structure. This will provide plenty of sunlight exposure, good airflow, and make a strong tree for the best quality fruit. So while you're pruning your peach tree, just keep thinking about opening it up, exposing it to the sunlight. That's the whole key. Everything revolves around that. Now I've got, for tools today, I've got a pair of hand pruners and I've got a pair of loppers. Loppers will be for the larger stems. Obviously the smaller stems, I'll use hand pruners. But I'm not ready to start cutting yet. What I want to do is kind of study the tree, keeping that open concept in my mind. After looking at it, I'm going to take out the obvious. This is going straight up. I'm going to try to create 4 or 5 laterals, the scaffold branches, and I want it to be well balanced. I don't want it all to one side, I want it around the tree. So instead of cutting this rather large stem clear back to the base, what I'm going to do is cut it, I would say right here. Seems kind of drastic, but the tree will be thankful for this. Since I've taken that out, this is interior, so I want to take that out. I'm going to try to encourage this tree to have a scaffold branch over here because we don't have a lot over here. And I really don't want to cut that all the way back to the trunk. So this will be one. Now, as far as how low, you want a pretty low scaffold branch for the ease of harvesting the fruit, closer to the ground. So a good rule of thumb is about knee high, about 18, 24 inches. And on this side, this is going to be shaded, so I'm going to take this off all the way, not scalping the trunk, but at the collar. Okay, and again, we're looking at what's obvious right in the middle here. I said I wanted to open it up, no central leader. This is coming out. Here's a stub that's going to come out. Now it's starting to take some shape. I like this one over here. It's low. It's already started to fork and fill in. I like these two. And usually everything on the interior, it's not only going to be shaded, but it's weaker wood. You want the strongest stuff for your fruit bearing, and this is already forked here, so it's starting to fill in. I did notice there's a little bit of a notch here, and that could be a problem. So let's just eliminate that. Come over here and, well, first of all, take that off. Yeah, actually, I think I can take it all the way back to here. And I don't want this cluster like that. I want to take those back. Yeah, that's starting to take shape. This right here it's not going to do that well there, so we're going to take it off too. I'm trying to get like 4 to 5 scaffold branches, starting as low as 24 inches, finishing up here higher up about 6 foot or so. And again, it's pretty obvious when you've got interior growth. Open, just keep thinking open. Think about how the sun's coming in on it. Get rid of all this weak stuff. Trim that up. Okay, the other thing is, this is a good branch here, and we've got a good strong stem coming out. I'm going to cut that off there. And then on the new wood will be red. That's where your peaches will be. And if you have an older tree, you'll want to take about 1/3 of that off, because that'll cut down on the pressure of the trying to sustain all of these peaches. They can't possibly sustain all that it would put on if you just let it go. And you think, well, there's a lot of peaches there. Well, the problem is the tree can't support it. So you want to cut those back. And even on a young tree like this, when I make a cut up here, I'm going to want to have an outward facing bud. You can see the buds clearly on the tree. And if you think away, you don't want to fill in the center, so you take an outward facing bud and about 1/4 of an inch above it at an angle, about a 45-degree angle, cut that off. Now, I'm not done with that, but that's a good example of how to make the cut. So I'm going to do that over here. Outward facing bud, cut in an angle. That allows the moisture to shed off. And then the growth seal will be encouraged to go out. It'll go out, and then in between the scaffolds, there'll be forks that will fill in, but it's still open so that the sun will come down on it. Okay, again, down here, I've got a lot of congestion, so I'm taking that off, making a cut right there. Okay, the other thing is, especially when it's young, you don't have to feel like it has to be perfection and everything is just so and that's the way it's going to be for life. You can give yourself options. You can leave something and kind of study it through the next season. Then you can see how things are reacting, and by leaving options, you can make up for damaged material, maybe, from deer or whatever, but give yourself some options. Don't feel like it has to be everything just so the first go around. All right, this is just going to be shaded out down here, so I'm taking it out. I'm taking all this little stuff off. Clean it up a bit. This is growing up and going to be shaded by all of this that I'm going to leave. Again, I'm going to make a 45-degree cut about 1/4 of an inch above the bud. Okay, this is all crossing right in here. I said I was going to leave this one, and if I do that, I think this needs to come off. So I'm already down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't want any more than that as a structure, or it'll be too crowded. Interior, that's just going to grow up and defeat the whole purpose, so we're taking that off. I actually think this is going to cause a problem right here. When the tree is young, it's when it's really important to prune, and you're more interested in the growth of the tree than fruit early on. The fruit will just take energy from the tree growing. Now, once it starts to get more established, then you can start thinking about the fruit more. And if you have an old tree that's just not been pruned for a long time, you just have to prune it pretty hard, pretty vigorously, and open it up, and you'll be surprised at how quickly it recovers. Oh, here's one. Yeah, these will be crossing here. I don't like that. That's weak, little. Okay, so it's opened up. It's a lot better than it was. We've got rid of that straight, almost like a central leader in the middle. And I just think of it as it's an art and a science. The science part is the sunlight, the airflow, the bud orientation. But the art is deciding which branch to cut and which to leave, and trying to create that structure. So there's no set rules. The next tree I go to will be different. So I can't say, oh, well, this is what I did over here. It's an art, but it's based on the science so that you have a guide. And I just keep looking at it thinking open. As long as I open it up and I've got the sun exposure, then it's gonna kind of take care of itself from there, and you can watch it develop. You can do a little pruning during the growing season, but the bulk of it will be during the dormant season. Like right now in late February is perfect for Missouri. So if you have any questions, let us know at starkbros.com.